Well, well, what a time to return to YouTube. So, YouTube has announced that they are going to be not censoring people by removing their videos, but making them not able to be seen. Well, isn't that lovely? So, YouTube has been trying to find a way to censor speech for quite a while now. I think part of it has to do with people rising up like Leafy is here, the semi-tongue-in-cheek racists on YouTube. I'm not saying they are racists, I'm saying they're acting like racists as a joke. You know, the faux Nazis, that type of stuff, right? And I also think there's a very big push since Hillary Clinton lost the election to curtail the conservative movement, because I think some people in our wonderful republic, and probably across the world, considering the French elections and how, well, we all know who almost won that one. And the same thing with the British elections and the rest of them across the world. It's tending to move more towards conservatives. And I think that's kind of scaring the left a little bit. As you guys probably know, I lean conservative. I am an independent. I don't vote down party lines normally. Though in recent years, I have definitely, Democrat kind of just, yeah, I'll just put it that way. I'm pretty sure you can get what I'm insinuating here. I think it's very interesting that with technology advancing, free speech should be increasing, right? And it is increasing, and it's increasing at such a capacity that these other gatekeepers, we'll call them gatekeepers, are really trying to curtail free speech. And I think the really interesting part about all this is they're probably going to be successful. Unless people really stand up and start shouting, you know, hey, all speech should be free speech. Everyone should be allowed to speak. More speech and more ability to discuss one's views is better. Because if you forge your views in debate and discussion, they'll either become stronger with more evidence, or they'll become malleable, weaker, and then eventually break. So, inevitably, the more free speech we have, obviously it's going to be leading to a better society. Our society needs a lot of help because ignorance is rampant everywhere, on the left and the right. I mean, the amount of people that don't really know what's going on. I bet you the average person watches less than, you know, an hour of news a week. And I'm not even talking about mainstream news. I mean, they don't read papers, they don't pay attention. People just don't pay attention anymore. It's a serious issue. And I think this YouTube thing is definitely a sign that they don't want you to pay attention. Because they're trying to limit the amount of speech some people have. I don't care if it's hate speech. I mean, let's say it is hate speech, like flat out hate speech. Well, obviously they'll be shouted down by the rest of the crowd. And if they're not shouted down by the rest of the crowd, then that shows you that we have some serious work to be done in society. Now, I will admit that there are some forms of speech that should be curtailed, and that is threatening, things like that. Assault. You can't have assault. By assault, I mean people calling for people to be beat up and calling for violence. I mean, if you're gonna have free dialogue, you can't have violence involved. And I'm not talking about violent words, I'm talking about calling for actual physical violence. Our society has reached a point where the people that are actually calling for violence, which I'm gonna be honest, I see it as the left. You know, you got Antifa, which is probably the closest thing we've seen to modern day Nazis. And you got the BLM, you know, I support the movement's idea. The way that it's put into action is just outstandingly belligerent. There's no other word for it. It's terrible. They're attacking people on the street. They're shouting down people in colleges. You know, people are paying these college professors and other people to go and speak. And these kids are shouting them down because they don't agree with what they're saying. That should not be allowed because the people there want to hear what they're saying. And I know you're going to say, oh, it's free speech. But it's really not free speech to silence somebody else's speech. That's more or less that's bad, right? I mean, for as long as I can remember, that was always bad. But recently, I guess that's not bad anymore. My views on this whole YouTube thing is it's terrible. And we all should be saying, hey, YouTube, stop it. And I'm gonna say it right now, YouTube, stop it, because you're making yourself look like an ass. But who knows, you know, this is probably gonna get silenced, you know, hidden. It'll be on my page, and it'll be hidden. I'm not known or anything like that, but hey, I am sure somebody out there is gonna hear it and be like, oh my gosh! Which, it's so easy to do today. People have no skin at all. Alright guys, well, that's my views on it. Take what you want with it, and yeah, that's all I really have to say. Catch you guys next video.